Hi, I think we're recording. Let's hope so. Okay, so this little video is a swatching video of the M-gram watercolors that I have, and I like these colors. They are made in North America, so they're a little less expensive than some European brands for us here in Canada. They're made with honey, so they're easily re-wetted, and they actually never really dry, which makes them ideal for me, because that's what I like. I like them to re-wet. They come in bigger tubes, 15 mils, and I know that some other companies make big tubes as well, but I do like this size. And I think that the honey makes them more vibrant. I think they have some quirks. So there are some colors that I don't like. Or in some cases with the texture that perhaps shouldn't be there, you have to work with the paint a little differently than you might otherwise. You might have to work with it in a diluted way. And then if you're really stuck and it doesn't work for you, you can try another brand. So those particular ones, I think, are some of these blues. They are not supposed to granulate, and they have texture. So it's not actually granulation, it's something else. As well as the PG7 and this, so phthalo green and this permanent green light, it does it as well. So, yeah, I think we also have that here with the azo green. Yeah. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. It's a bit of an oddity. But hey, I mean, oddities are interesting, aren't they? And if that isn't a major concern for you, then you don't have to worry about it. But the strange thing is that the ultramarine blue and the cobalt blue, which usually granulate, don't, or at least not very much in this brand. And that can be a good thing because I actually don't like granulation in some applications. So yeah, it's all a learning experience, but I do like these colors and I hope you enjoy this. And yeah, thanks for your time. Good afternoon or evening, wherever you are. It's Sarah here from Northern Impressions by Sarah, and I got a couple more M-gram colors today, and I decided that I wanted to swatch out all my M-gram colors that I own. So I got this sheet ready, and on my butcher's block, butcher's tray, I should say, I've got the first row laid out, and I thought I'd just lay down a little water for the more diluted areas and just mix my paint with a drop of water. So this is one of my very favorite yellows. Ponce Yellow Deep PY97. It's transparent and non-granulating and a sunny color, very cheerful. And then my next favorite yellow is very, very warm, and it's PY110 Indian Yellow. And you can see that these colors are very vibrant, highly pigmented, and they do flow nicely on the paper too. So I really like them. Hi, I think we're recording. Let's hope so. Okay, so this little video is a swatching video of the M-gram watercolors that I have, and I like these colors. They are made in North America, so they're a little less expensive than some European brands for us here in Canada. They're made with honey, so they're easily rewetted, and they actually never really dry, which makes them ideal for me, because that's what I like. I like them to rewet. They come in bigger tubes, 15 mils, and I know that some other companies make big tubes as well, but I do like this size. And I think that the honey makes them more vibrant. I think they have some quirks. So there are some colors that I don't like. Or in some cases with the texture that perhaps shouldn't be there, you have to work with the paint a little differently than you might otherwise. You might have to work with it in a diluted way. And then if you're really stuck and it doesn't work for you, you can try another brand. So those particular ones, I think, are some of these blues. They are not supposed to granulate, and they have texture. So it's not actually granulation, it's something else. As well as the PG7 and this, so phthalo green and this permanent green light. It does it as well. So, yeah, I think we also have that here with the azo green. Yeah. So, yeah, it's, I don't know. It's a bit of an oddity. But hey, I mean, oddities are interesting, aren't they? And if that isn't a major concern for you, then you don't have to worry about it. But the strange thing is that the ultramarine blue and the cobalt blue, which usually granulate, don't, or at least not very much in this brand. And that can be a good thing because I actually don't like granulation in some applications. So yeah, it's all a learning experience, but I do like these colors and I hope you enjoy this. And yeah, thanks for your time. Now this quinacridone rust, I just ordered 2 more tubes because it's going to happen that the PO48, that is the pigment this is made out of, is going to disappear. And I use this color a lot. I really like it. So I got a couple. That'll last me a while, and then when the time comes that those are gone, I'll just have to make an adjustment. And I don't love adjustments, and I don't like getting used to not having pigments available. So that's a little hard for me. Yeah, but it has to happen sometimes. It's too bad that various industries don't require the pigments anymore because artists are such a small part of the demand that basically, I guess, if the automotive industry doesn't like or require a color anymore, then artists can't get it. So this was one of my new colors today, and it's PR209, which is a pigment that I really like, and I have a couple different versions of it. But I like to have a big tube of the colors that I use a lot, and so these 15 mil tubes from M-gram, they last quite a while. So that's why I like them. This is permanent alizarin crimson, and it is not as light fast, perhaps, as I wish it was, but it's still reasonable. Amgram rates it as a number 2. Hansa Yellow Deep is rated at number 2 as well. So, but the rest are light fast 1 so far. This is PR264, and as you probably know, in watercolor, getting reds that are completely light fast is a bit of a challenge. So, and now we're going to go on to ultramarine violet deep, PV 15. Adding a little more water, and oops. Using some paper towel to pick that up. So PV15 is a granulating transparent color. It's a low tinting strength. It's just really pretty, a soft color. Next we have dioxazine purple. This is a very high tinting color. It's almost black in mass tone, and you'll see that I put it on there. Now I have to go rinse my brush out completely because it's too dark to be visible. You can't even see what color it is. So we do need some really dark colors in watercolor, and we can use them for different things. Making shadows and darks is important. And now we're going to go on to ultramarine violet and then ultramarine blue. And I just have a dot of the ultramarine blue and the cobalt blue. So, but the ultramarine violet is a mixture of ultramarine blue and the previous color, PV15, the ultramarine, this one, ultramarine violet deep, PV15. So PV29 and PV15. And the other color that I know of that's very similar is Smaltz Blue from Winsor Newton. It's very much the same. And my friend Tracy gave me these dots of the ultramarine blue and cobalt, and she gave me so much that I've been able to swatch and never run out. And I do think that this blue is going to be my next purchase of ultramarine blue because I really like an ultramarine that doesn't granulate too much. Um, I don't mind having some that does granulate as well. However, um, if I want to use these colors, the cobalt or the ultramarine, in a sky, generally, I don't want it to granulate. So, um, for some reason, I guess it's the way the pigment is ground. M. Graham's version is less granulating than most. As far as non-granulating ultramarine, I had been using Ultramarine Finest by Schminke, but that's European and harder for me to get. So that's why I would like a North American replacement for that. So another new color that I got today was Anthraquinone Blue, which is PB60. Oh my, I squeezed out way too much. Oh, my only complaint about M. Graham is that the paints having honey in them are a bit messy. They tend to want to, you know, have, I don't know, streaks, that, and they don't, and they kind of just make a big mess. Oh, and I made a mess here. All right, so um, now I gotta lay out the colors for the next row. And here we have phthalocyanine blue red shade, and then phthalocyanine blue green shade. They just call it phthalocyanine blue. They don't say green shade, but it is PB15 colon 3. The red shade is PB15 colon 0. And the cobalt teal is next, and it is so pretty. And it's made with PB28 rather than PG50, which often those colors are made of. Let me just water on here. So Anthraquinone blue is PB60, and it's very dark and rich. Almost black. I think I got too much. So I'm just picking up some and rinsing my brush and drawing it as I go back and forth, trying to dilute this so you can actually see the color rather than just the mask tone. Sorry, I bumped everything here. And I seem to have touched, maybe splattered the color. Well, here we go with the red shade. Let's see. I'll add just a touch more so you can see the mass tone here, which again is very dark. And so these phthalo colors, some people shy away from because they have such strong tinting strength, but I just think that's an opportunity to learn how to work with them. And they're gorgeous. And it doesn't take much to have color, so you don't need to use your paint all up very fast. Cobalt teal is a very light, low tinting strength color made from cobalt, the same pigment as cobalt blue. I don't really know how they manage to turn it into a green color, but that's what they can do. So cobalt teal I really like because you can turn it into a beautiful shadow color. Plus the color on its own is pretty. So it's a nice color. I'm just getting some of the greens out. This is permanent green pale. And this is azo green. It's PY129. It's one of my favorite colors. And got the olive green, which is not my favorite color, and you're going to see why. I'll tell you why. So, I don't know why I bought the olive green, except I guess I thought it would make a good, like, jack pine color, because we live where there's a lot of jack pine, and they're kind of an olive color. So, that's what I think I thought, but it's made out of 4 pigments. So, and I just don't like the color either. I guess having 4 pigments is a big turn off for me, but if I had liked the color, that would be another thing. But I just find it too brown. So this is Phthalo Cyanine Green G7, and it's a very strong green that's like an emerald color, as you can see. It usually needs to be modified because it doesn't look particularly like anything in nature. But since it's such a strong tinting strength, you can make a black with it. With the permanent alizarin crimson and this green, you can make a really nice dark, close to black. Now, I do like this color. It's called Permanent Green Light, and it's PG7 here plus PY151. So I think it's pretty. And then the next one I really like, and it's very pale. It's called Permanent Green Pale. It's also made from PG7, but instead of the PY151, it uses PY 3. So the lighter color of Hansa yellow. And when I picked some up, I didn't pick quite enough from the tube. It's a very mild, bright green. Good for those spring pictures of the leaves when they just first open up. Now for our very dull and brown olive green. There you have it. It's a little shocking, don't you think? So now for PY 129 or Azo Green here. Very light color. Good for mixing with whatever blue you're working with. And it's kind of a browny color at its darkest. So yellow, green, but mostly yellow in my books. And then we've got Terra Rosa, which, and it's an opaque PR101. Just get some out. Oh my, got too much. And then Burnt Umber. And then Payne's Gray. And as far as Payne's Gray go, this one's interesting because it uses ultramarine, and so it's a granulating kind of separating color. So, also, it's not particularly staining, so I do kind of like that sometimes. Just going to wet the paper. And I'm not really sure what paint I got on here. Probably Quin Rust. So it looks like I have 20 tubes of M-gram. So that's a lot. So this brand uses honey. I don't know if I told you that yet. It uses honey mixed with some Arabic as a binder. And so because of that, I feel that colors are very vibrant and they're easy to re-wet. In fact, they never really dry. They're always sticky. So I guess in some climates that might be bad. In mine, where it's mostly very dry in northwestern Ontario, we have a lot of dry weather, so it's not a problem. And this is a very opaque color. It's probably the most opaque color that I own, but it granulates and it's really pretty. I've used it for wood, like in old weathered log cabins. And this burnt umber is nice. It granulates some. And again, the Payne's Gray with ultramarine blue and PBK9. Okay, so we've got them all swatched, and I'm going to let them dry, and I will show them to you in daylight next. Tomorrow, hopefully, in the morning, and then you can see what they look like in daylight. But they are a lovely bunch of colors, aren't they? I have to say, though, that some things I don't quite like are that there's some texture in the PG7 and the phthalocyanine blue and this phthalocyanine blue red shade, and even in the anthraquinone blue that really shouldn't be there. And I guess some people call it flocculation. It's not really granulating. I mean, they are not supposed to granulate, but there's texture there. And I see a lot more texture in the Quin Rust than I remember being there. And it sort of looks granulating, so I don't know what's up with that. But that's one of the kind of quirks of this brand. Some colors have texture that shouldn't. All right, how they are in the morning. I guess we're recording. I didn't realize. Okay, so here we are the next day with our M. Graham watercolor swatches, and you can see that they're all dry, and that I found another one that I forgot about, and it's the Scarlet Pyrrole or Pyrrole, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, with P073 for the pigment. And so I guess the main things I think are, most of them are very lovely. There is that flocculation that happens, which I don't really know why it happens, particularly quinacridone Rust, PO48. I didn't really think that was supposed to be there, but it's not really a problem. It just is. So we don't really call that granulation because it's not supposed to granulate. Then we do have a little granulation here with the ultramarine violet and deep and ultramarine violet. And strangely enough, because of the way they process their ultramarine and cobalt, they don't really granulate. Then when you come in here and look at these blues, you see some texture that I don't think should be there. However, it is. And it's not too much of a problem if you dilute it well. And then this cobalt teal is supposed to granulate, and you can see that it does. Now here with the greens, again you see in these two that texture that ought not to be there. And this olive green was not something that I would ever buy again, and I'm not sure why I did. But anyway, now the azo green, PY129, also has that funny texture. And the rest, these two probably should granulate. They're supposed to. All right, so that's the M grams that I have. And I actually just had swatches of these two because I don't need them right now. But I would buy these for sure because I prefer ones that don't granulate that much. So here I've done a mixing chart for you, and what I did was I picked the colors that I consider mixing colors, and I mixed them together, and this is what we have. Now here I did make a little mistake, and I had to glue on some other swatches. It's hard not to make a mistake on such a big chart. So that's 11 paints by 11 paints. On this half, I try to do the mixes a little bit lighter. On this, darker. So these mixes are the same as these mixes. So we've got Hansa yellow, deep Indian yellow, scarlet purple, quinacridone red, permanent alizarin crimson, dioxazine purple, anthraquinone blue, phthalocyanine blue, which is green shade, cobalt teal, and phthalocyanine green, and azo green. All right. So some of the things, I guess, that stand out to me are how pretty some of these cobalt teal mixes are. And the other thing is, although I don't really think these look too great when they're dark, I really like the azo green mixes, and that is what I use azo green for, is mixes. It's a great mixing color. Also interesting to me are how the phthalocyanine blue-green shade and anthraquinone blue don't really seem all that different some of the time in the way they mix. They seem quite similar. So I was a bit surprised by that. I thought they would be more different, because I think that anthraquinone blue is a warm blue and this is a cool blue. They just seemed pretty similar. So I don't know what you think of these. I would like to hear. I like to receive comments and hear what your favorite colors are, what your favorite mixes are. And one of my favorite mixes is using cobalt teal with ultramarine blue and quinacridone rose, or PV 19. And it makes a really lovely shadowy violet. Here, I'll show you on a scrap here somewhere, if I can find one. You can mix varying quantities of those three colors, and it will granulate and separate a little, and it's just a really nifty mix. And the other one that I thought was so nice, where is it? Cobalt teal. And this quin red is interesting. And I also like how it mixes with dioxazine purple. Yeah, it's just really kind of a neat color. And also with the phthalo green, phthalo blue-green shade. Isn't that pretty? So yeah, so many mixes you can make with these colors. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Please give me a like and a subscribe if you're interested, and I will try to get some more painting videos up soon. Sorry for this lovely tail off my phone. I need to eventually find a better setup for my studio so that I can record better. But anyway, have a good day.